So happy you said yeah to doing it. So
That's
thanks, like appreciate it.
pleasure.
I was like reading so much cooler than I give you credit for as well. I was reading up because he sold 25 million like sort of records or sales. Like you're the first band to get a number one in the US after the
Oh,
Beatles or so with a debut
on
single.
a debut single, yeah.
Yeah, apparently so.
Yeah, well, like it's
Okay.
just great. I'm so happy. And then I was reading about the Taylor Swift sample as well and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a sample. It's what's called an interpolation.
Oh, see,
So
I seen that word, but I just thought that was another word for sample. I didn't
No,
actually
no,
know what that
no, no.
meant.
A sample is when they use a piece of the original audio, the original master. An interpolation is when they use an idea and credit you. So Taylor Swift took an idea from "I'm Too Sexy,"
and then put it into her own
put it
thing.
into her own song, but because it's our idea, she has to credit us or
Yeah.
get sued. You know.
Ah,
Uh,
right.
Yeah.
if it, to be honest with you, if it was a sample as well, that'd be great because we get paid twice. But was that someone banging the door? Sorry.
No, Alex going out.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's all
And,
right.
so what happens? So to give you an example, with a sample, let's say it was a sample, and Taylor Swift had sampled us, and then someone else recorded her song, or no, or just played her song. We wouldn't get paid because it was her version that used the audio sample. The way it is now, we are credited as co-writers. So if Miley Cyrus recorded "Look What You Made Me Do," we would get paid because we are co-writers. That wouldn't be the case if it was a sample.
Ah, right. That's quite cool. I never knew that. That's what I just thought it was like a sample that word. But that's
No,
cool.
no.
The people say sample all the time.
Yeah, I mean, what it was, people like the NME, the New Musical Express, and other people that pretend to be music papers got it all wrong because they don't really understand what they're talking about. And there's a significant difference between the two. Ideally, you get interpolated and sampled on the same track.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
And we had it with Drake, but Drake sampled someone. I don't know if he thought it was us. I don't know. But there's a guy called Gorgeous George that does a version of "I'm Too Sexy," and it sounds not that dissimilar to us, although it's a different vibe. And Drake sampled him, but used "I'm Too Sexy" melody in "Way Too Sexy." So again, we were interpolated, which means we're credited as writers. The same applies to Beyonce. The same applies to
Sophie Tucker.
Sophie Tucker, Sugar Babes. There's a few bands out there. So that's the just so you
The,
know.
the
I
legalese
know
on
that's
it.
cool. I like that because I've never known anything about it, so it's
No,
cool
no,
to learn
it,
about it.
it's
See,
a minefield.
see, with like the way today's music scene is, like, how would you feel about the way? Because you've been around for, so was it 1989 you formed?
We
Um,
were formed, yeah,
yeah.
89, yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about the scene now? Because it's obviously a lot different now. And did you
Yes.
prefer it back then to what it is now?
The great thing about now is you can make a record in the morning and you can release it online in the afternoon.
Yeah.
That's a great thing. The downside, the downside of where we are is that the shared experience has gone. Back in the 80s, when Top of the Pops was on, everybody watched Top of the Pops.
Yeah.
When the Old Grey Whistle Test was on, everybody watched Top of the Whistle Test. It was a shared experience. Although we've got mobile phones and in a way we're more connected, we're almost also more disconnected because the shared experience is often lost. And you see people at venues with their phones up like this, they're not in the moment.
Yeah, I agree.
They're much more concerned about getting something to show their friends than enjoying the concert at the time.
Also, back in the day when we were kids, there was a record shop, and they had when you go in and you'd ask the guy behind the counter, "Have you got such and such a record?" He would then take the album out, put the album on the turntable. Then you would go to a booth and sit in the booth with all your friends and listen to the music.
Brilliant.
And it was a really social experience. Then it became very separate in a way. You'd go into the same record shop and all the booths had gone, and they just have hanging headphones hanging on a
Yeah, the
single.
CD things, I remember them. You had the
So once again, you were separated from your neighbour, And as Fred says, the more connected we are in digitally, the more disconnected we are as humans.
Yeah, we are.
It's
Yeah.
a weird thing.
I think it's great for making music now, but the market's very difficult.
Not so good for making money.
No, I mean there's something like 100,000 uploads every day onto Spotify. I think it's 100,000.
Yeah, and it obviously makes it a lot harder to
It
break
does.
out, I suppose, then as an
Yeah,
artist.
it makes it very difficult. Also, then there's only, I think, 3 or 4 record companies left in terms of the majors, and radio, yeah, mainstream radio and the majors are very close. One, they work hand in glove. If you're outside of that monopoly, then it's very, very difficult. And we survive partly because not partly, a lot to do is to the songs we've written. So I'm Too Sexy, Don't Touch Us, Kiss, Dippy Dippy, and You're My Mate, and Stand Up for the Champions. Those sort of 5 songs bring in very good royalties, and we're incredibly lucky for that. And we count our blessings, because trying to survive as an independent artist just based on shows and just based on your access to playing live and whatever dribs and drabs your website may or may not bring in, it's very difficult for artists out there.
Yeah, particularly during the COVID nonsense.
Yeah.
For any artists that relied on playing live for money,
Yeah,
if they weren't writers, if they were just literally playing other people's songs or whatever, it was extremely tough time. I mean, really, we survived, and like a lot of other writers, we survived because we write songs, and you can't, the virus didn't stop the internet working. But for artists, so many artists out there who just play to make a living.
Yeah.
And it was an absolute nightmare. So
tons of musicians we know have left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've spoken to a couple of musicians, because I speak to a lot of sort of new musicians and stuff, but a lot of them have said they nearly gave up because COVID was a really shit time for them.
Yeah, I mean, we know quite a few good players, and they still dabble, but one we know he's become a financial advisor, and lots have just left. One guy went into doing voiceovers. Some people have left entertainment completely. There's a great number of people. It's probably not that evident if you're not in the industry, but we know, for example, that one thing that happened, the people that supply the massive coaches for the tour buses, for the massive tour buses, we know one company that closed. They sold off their 100+ buses, and the difference that's made now is that the companies who are left can charge more, and if you get a runner shows late, you're kind of in trouble because all those buses have already been hired for the summer at premium rate. So that the industry shifted in lots of small ways, lots of big ways, and not always, a lot of the time, not for the better. Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think of things like that about the coaches and like all the bits behind the scenes type thing.
Absolutely, all the tech, all the sound people, all the roadies, all that backroom stuff, all those people that were relying on that work to make a living, suddenly were out of work. There were no shows. There was nothing.
Yeah, it was brutal.
It was a brutal time, and it was the thing about the music industry is that what it does, it hides the reality of what it is. So you'll have the Brits, you'll have Glastonbury, you'll have all this stuff, and it gives punters the impression that everything is just cushy, everything is just like it was. It's all okay, and it's not. It really, really is not. It is on its knees, the record industry now, and I think probably my impression is a lot of labels are looking at old catalogue now to keep going.
Yeah.
Rather than looking at new acts. So if you're a young band now, then what we always say for new artists is, and it's probably a lesson you need to learn now, and it's always been true, which is if you're a new artist, never ever imagine that the guy on the other side of the desk is the one with the power, because he doesn't have the power. You have the power. The artist always has the power. The problem is what the business relies on is the artist's desperation.
Yes.
The artist's desperation for recognition, for money and profile. If you can't be bought in that way, you've got all the power. They can't control you.
Yeah.
So it's a real mindset, I think, that some musicians, or many musicians, have got to get past. We worked with a young guy, South African kid, many years ago, very pretty, but definitely had talent, definitely had a way with words and a way to deliver the songs. But he was obsessed with the big deal. He was
Yeah.
obsessed with getting a big deal from EMI or a big deal from Warner's, or he wasn't, or despite his young years, he wasn't in any way familiar with the alternative way of working, which is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
He just didn't get it, did not get it. And if I don't think he signed the deal in the end, but if he had, he was one of those people who would have signed a bad deal because they were promising things to him that he wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think you've got the problem with social media and stuff now as well. Everyone wants that instant success as well, doesn't they? And
Yeah,
it
they
builds
do.
up a fake sort of life for people. And
Instant success breeds instant failure.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the reality show thing and the
Yeah.
talent show, it's given people the idea that being famous is the goal. And being famous or being recognized or whatever, it should just be a byproduct of something else you do. You do well at sports, you do well in music, you do well as a dancer, whatever it is. Being famous, that should always just be an add-on. But now we've got people, and some people do, on TikTok, some people are earning crazy money.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, and OnlyFans.
yeah, I might start one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not,
You know,
it's not how I think. It's not how I've ever thought. And but each to their own. If they, if someone wants to get their tits out for a living, they'll yeah, knock yourself out.
yeah.
I've got them. I've got them. I'll keep them in the bank for now, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I was
Yeah, no,
I was reading about your career and stuff as well. 'Cause it was saying, and if anything's wrong, by the way, just tell me and I'll cut it
yeah,
out.
right, okay.
But it was like one of the things said that you've got global success quite quickly. Like
Yes.
how did you adjust to that? Because it's got to be when you get it quickly, it's got to be a big shock to your lifestyle.
It
Yes,
was.
it was. What happened was, I'm Too Sexy was released without a record deal, and everyone around us was, including us, wasn't expecting it to have the traction that it had.
Yeah.
But the minute Simon Bates at Radio One played it, literally it changed everything within hours. And then because of the notoriety, the video and the song was getting in England, this is going back to the early 90s, and this is when England had influence on the rest of the world as a music market. England doesn't anymore, that's gone. But it used to be very influential. And so you'd have Germany, Belgium, Holland, all of Europe was suddenly on the phone or on fax saying, "What's this record? Where can we hear it? Can we get access to it? Can we license it?" So we ended up working with lots of separate record labels across Europe.
It was a real shift for us.
It was huge.
To suddenly be recognised in the street.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
odd. Was odd, and it took me a good, I would think, 2 or 3 years really to get used to it. I remember right in the very early days, I just used to go red. I just used to blush. I just found it really embarrassing. And I remember driving down to Brighton at the time in an open top sports car, and the car went past with loads of girls in it, and they all started screaming and shouting. And I just thought, what are they screaming? Oh, it's me. That's what it is. It takes a while for you to really understand
Yeah.
what's going on. And by the time you understand it, and because initially you're enjoying it, it's quite a buzz initially, but then after a while it becomes
boring.
intrusive.
Yeah, I can bet it is.
Actually, and I don't know how that was with Fred, but I had people singing "Don't Talk, Just Kiss" through the letterbox and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, also my boyfriend at the time was very, very sick, so we had that to deal with as well, and the newspapers were all over that as well. So it was like anything. It's the curate's egg. Bits of it are good, and bits of it are bad.
It's the media, I think, I'd hate because they're so intrusive and they think. I
Yeah.
don't know. They think they can print whatever they want about your life and things like that. I just think it's a horrible
Yeah,
way of
The,
being.
the mass media will just write whatever sells the story. They don't base anything on fact. I think within 3 weeks of I'm Too Sexy, we were being described as multimillionaires.
yeah.
We hadn't seen any money,
Yeah.
And we were paid well eventually, but at that point hadn't been. And that's how they like to paint it. And also you pick you up. They'll paint you in a certain light So it suits them when they destroy you. They set you up to be destroyed in the UK. That's what they do.
That's why you
Yeah,
see
definitely.
whenever you see an interview with a Hollywood star, they've always got a press person standing
Or a lawyer.
or a lawyer in the room, And I saw one with what's his name, some actor, I can't remember his name now. But the questioning was going in the wrong direction, and the press guy said, "We're going. Come on, let's
Yeah,
go."
yeah.
So sometimes that's you have to be. We were very naive, I think, at the beginning, and people would say to us, "What do you want to talk about?" And we would say, "We'll talk about anything." Well, you don't do that.
No, we don't know.
We don't do that now.
No,
We ask people what they want to talk about. If they say they only want to talk about COVID, we don't do the interview.
no.
We don't do the interviews.
Sick to death of
We're
those
sick to death
conversations.
of those.
Yeah, I bet you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just we're much more. Well, I'm saying we're not picky. We're just aware now of what interviews can be and how they can be skewed, particularly with the press.
Yeah.
You've
Oh,
got
I'm
to
glad I made the cut.
yeah, yeah. With it, I mean, this kind of thing is much more controllable. Is not the right word, but it's the press have an agenda, a very strong
They
agenda
do.
to sell papers. That's it, and it can skew the way they treat you. And I remember when the very first interview we did, which was in Putney, and we did an interview with a lady from the Sun. I think it was the Sun, and we were walking back in the day. You could walk down to the Thames in Putney, and we were walking down doing the interview, and we were walking back, and I thought the interview was over. So I was just chatting. Then I looked in her bag, and there was a little red light on. So she hadn't turned her.
Recording you type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing you need to be astute to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'd hate that life.
Yeah,
See with your Taylor Swift thing, does that feel like a full circle type pop moment for you when you get things like that done? 'Cause obviously she's huge, and then she's using
Yeah.
one of your sort of songs, and I'd like to think it'd be a great feeling like when someone like that uses your song as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very flattering. That yeah, basically we've got writing credits on 5 American number ones. I mean, that is extraordinary. And as an artist who is constantly attacked in the UK for whatever we say or whatever we do, we know that those facts, those sort of statistics, really, really wind up our haters.
Well, it's a bit like the
know.
Macy Gray cover on Radio 2 the other week.
Yes,
So you've got Macy Gray, who's obviously one of the. She's really. I like her. I think she's
I
great.
think great. Yeah.
The vocal version, the vocal she did on I Try, the big single, was absolutely brilliant. I thought. Anyway, she does this version of I'm Too Sexy, which is very flattering. She talks about the song. It's great. But what we know is there are people at Radio 2 who absolutely hated the fact that she chose that song to do because
Really?
oh, definitely, because she's really cool and we really aren't.
They hate us.
Absolutely. They weren't
Cool, you're cooler than you give yourself credit for. Like the amount I've read up on you, I think that they're so cool.
But yes, the music business, as an example, when we went to get an award at the back in the early days at the Albert Hall for I'm Too Sexy, the entire audience booed as we walked up on stage.
They were DJs.
They were DJs, yeah, because we're not seen as, we don't dance. We're not that pretty. We're not the right age. We're not, we never really fitted in. And Sexy was that kind of track that just didn't sound like anything else. And I think a lot of people just got really miffed at the first of all, they got miffed because it was a hit. And they remain increasingly miffed because it won't stop being played.
I think
It's that they're permanently irritated. I think
the music industry is full of people who are very, very impressed with themselves, and so they think they know what's right. They think they know what's right, what radio should play, what TV should play. They think they know what is good music and bad music. They think they have some sort of taste detector, And when you defy that, they get very, very upset with you. And Richard used to be friends with Kenny Everett. And after I'm Too Sexy was number one in America, and then we had a number one album. Kenny Everett said to Richard, he said, they will never, ever forgive you. And we said, yeah, what do you mean? He said, well, you proved that the entire music industry in England wrong. You didn't just have one hit. You've had back-to-back hits. You've had a number one album, and now you're number one all over the world. They will hate you forever. And he's right about that. The British music industry does hate us,
He-
and a lot of the media does as well. But partly because you don't do as they tell you.
we had, well, we were, we
That's
were,
it.
yeah, we were recently offered a deal in Germany by quite a big, a famous German producer, record guy, whatever he is, and they had this project on, they wanted us to front, and then they sent us a list of songs, and we listened to some of the songs, and we didn't really like them. We thought we don't really want to do this, so we went back. We said, no, we'd love to work with you, blah blah blah. But these are the songs that we'd like to do. We selected our own series of songs,
Like an option.
an option. We'll do this, but these are the songs we really like to do, and that was the last we heard.
So
It was the last we heard because we weren't doing precisely what they wanted us to do.
Yeah.
A lot of rich people are like that, actually.
they are. Well,
Yeah, I can imagine.
They're bullets. You know, if you don't do exactly what they want, then they walk away.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly. Kenny Everett had the best chat-up line I have ever heard.
Go on.
We were walking into Capital Radio, and at the time, Capital Radio had these big stairs that went up into the studios. And as we were walking up, Kenny Everett was walking down. And he looked at me and he said, "Do you like food?" Obvious. So I said, "Of course." He said, "Well, let me take you out to dinner." What a great
That's good. If I was a single man, I'd be using it.
Absolutely, exactly. So so it was. I mean, back in the day, I think Sexy had its own legs, and it forced people to talk to us, and it forced people to address us. But I think once we made the second album that was wrong, wrong producer, wrong song,
Wrong for us.
wrong for us. We just didn't think hard enough about it. That was their opportunity to dive in and crucify us, and they took that opportunity. I think.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
It's that difficult second album, you know. It's that
Yeah,
thing.
well, see
So
how
became-
you've mentioned like how your main songs that you've got the royalties from. Is there any songs that you wish people would pay more attention to?
Oh yes,
Yeah, loads.
Yeah.
So I listened to some of your songs off the other albums today,
Right.
and I loved. There's a song called One Fine Day. I thought it was
Oh,
a
yeah,
brilliant song.
I love
And
that.
it's like
song.
one of them that no one ever really goes on about. It's a
No.
great song.
Yeah. That we had the singer on that is Joy Rose.
Joy Rose, yeah.
She's Sting's favorite singer, and she did an absolutely wonderful job. But the trouble is you won't once you're outside the club, you're not allowed in. So, for example, Glastonbury will have bands that play our music, like Dodgy used it, Deeply Dippy, PM Dawn had I'm Too Sexy. BBC Radio 2 will have Macy Gray singing our songs, but we're not allowed on. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is mad, yeah. But the best thing to do is to accept it, because I don't care really that they can do what they want. We have we fortunately, although we're still sort of cancelled in the UK a little bit, certain areas, 95% of our work has always been abroad since 92, 93. And we haven't been cancelled in any other country. In fact, during lockdown, we were doing TV shows in Germany, and we didn't have to wear a mask. They didn't ask if we were vaccinated. They didn't care. And that's the very opposite of what we experienced in the UK.
I think we were probably a bit mouthy
Yeah,
at the beginning. I think we probably were.
we don't have an opinion.
No, but I think we're a little bit angsty. I think, I don't know, because we get asked all the time about I'm Too Sexy and how it relates to us as people. And what I think is that if we wanted to fit in, if as kids we just wanted to fit in and be successful, we wouldn't have recorded I'm Too Sexy. We would have listened to the top 20 and come out with something like a cross between Baccarat and Aerosmith. Do you know what I
Some
mean?
crossover.
Something like that, So I think I'm Too Sexy is a good indication in a way of how we think, which is we tend to think if we like it, we do it. We don't think, does this work? Is this going to be a hit? We don't really think that. We are very, very conscious of hooks, very, very conscious of writing good songs. I mean, there's a guy called Jake Bugg we listen to because I think he's a good songwriter. But
Yeah.
but it's not a common good songwriting is quite rare these days because production can take over. Production and technique can take over. So it's really good when you hear somebody who can really nail an idea. And we try and do that whenever we, and if an idea is not strong enough, we just bin it.
We pass caring, what other people think. Really, I mean, there's no point worrying about it.
No, if they
best attitude to have.
Got to change their minds.
No, if they say something about a song that chimes with a little voice in your head, then you listen. Then you should listen. But if you think you've done something really great and they can't stand it, then listen to the voice in your head, not them.
Well, yeah. I mean, also it's the journey that it's our journey that we've taken, and we have been told time and time again this song will not be a hit. We had it with Sexy, with Don't Talk Just Kiss. Our record label didn't want Deeply Dippy on the album. I mean, we've got a million stories, and when you've been through those experiences where people feel it's not a hit, then it is a hit. It's not a hit, then it is a hit. You think, well, why would I listen?
What you learn.
Who are you?
Also, what you learn is the people who really count are the people out front.
The audiences, yeah.
That's the only thing personally, when we do a show, the only thing I care about is, do they like it? Yeah. I don't. Do you know what I mean? That's all. That's the whole story. And punters are much more open-minded, much more accepting, much more prepared to listen than record companies and radio stations.
Yeah.
They are.
So the good thing now is, I won't keep you too long. The good thing now is people still talk about a hit record as if you need to be in the charts to have a hit record. And of course, being in the charts is nice. We had our 11th international #1 last year with Wunderbar in the Heritage Chart.
Oh, yeah.
And it's great. but in terms of longevity, in terms of a song sort of reaching its potential, what you really want now, you want a song in a film, you want a song on a video game, you want a song on a big online advert or on a TV commercial. That's where hits are. In the charts aren't really the hits anymore. They're ones that are being played, manipulated, whatever you want to call them. But in terms of song being a hit and it recouping what it cost and all that sort of stuff, those criteria have changed.
Yeah,
completely.
Yes, they have. I think also artists think differently now. I think there was, when I was growing up, everybody knew what #1 was. Everybody knew who was in the charts. Everybody knew there was a really pop music was really central to our cultural experience all the time. And I think if I walked out into the street now and I said, do you know what the #1 record is? I don't think anybody would know.
No one would know.
No, I have no idea.
No. And that's a massive difference. That's a huge change. So artists
used to listen to the charts religiously on a Sunday. That'd be my thing.
It was just huge. Just after the Mike Sam Singers. Do you remember them?
No, I do not.
Okay. Sing Something Simple was their thing. That was on just before the countdown. But anyway, so I think artists think of it differently now. Artists do think about exposure. They think about usage. They think about the money coming in, and also they think about cost. So if you're trying to get a record on radio as an independent artist, supposing we were trying to get a record on radio, we would but we would probably have to pay a plugger, and a plugger is going to cost money, and you may not ever make that money back.
You won't
on the sales of the record. You just won't. So suddenly you're looking at, okay, well, if we got a movie using a song and they pay us some money for this usage, we just press the button on the computer and send it to them.
Yeah.
The difference is absolutely huge now. It really, really is, particularly for independent artists.
And also radio play doesn't translate into shows anymore either, because people view going to shows very differently now. I really believe that apart from the way hospitality has been treated through COVID and even before that, music venues are given a very hard time. People have got lazy. So music comes, new music comes through their TV. It's on it's on here.
Yeah.
Why am I going to go and stand in a field?
Well, in fact,
that's how some people think.
Fred's daughter went to a festival in Spain
years ago,
and got with some friends, and some of the friends were absolutely staggered. They were being asked to pay to get in
Her friends, my daughter's friends thought music was free.
because it's all been free on the phone.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they couldn't understand. Well, hold on, I've heard this record in here for nothing. Why would I pay
Yeah.
to go and see it? Yeah, and that conception, and it's what I was saying earlier, which is this difference between the meat and potatoes of the industry for artists. You know, the costs involved in promoting a record, the all the backroom stuff with the trucks and the security and the crew and everything else. All that stuff is even more invisible now because you go on Spotify, all you get is the name of the song of the band.
Yeah. It's
At least when you
people.
bought an album, you've got where it was recorded, and you've got the producer and the writers and all those people now are more invisible now than they've ever been. It's every hit is the work of a village.
Mm.
It really
It is,
is,
yeah.
and all those people need to be should properly be named
Credited.
for it, but credited. Sorry, credited. Yeah.
Going off that, I speak to a lot of sort of newer artists and stuff. Have you sort of any advice that you could give them?
Oh yes.
Get a job.
Get a job. No. The one thing we would say is always hold on to your material.
The copyright.
Always hold on to your copyright. Never. If somebody wants to take everything off you and promises you a check for it, don't listen, because in the long run, owning your own property, it's the difference between renting a house and owning a house. It's that kind of difference,
Yeah.
So that would be the first thing. Secondly, I would take Billy Joel's advice, which is get a good lawyer and a gun. That was Billy Joel's advice. But yeah, really, I think, and also believe yourself. It's hard when you're.
Yeah, I mean, I've been flippant before, but stick to your guns.
Yeah.
And just when you're walking into a meeting, or if people people get interested, know your worth. Don't be badgered into thinking you need them,
That's exactly right.
because the chances are you don't. So you make the more valuable you make yourself, the better, because it will put you in good stead.
There are some people in the industry, not so much now, but certainly back in the day, who definitely had a gift for spotting talent, definitely had a gift for putting talent with the right people, right producers, the right songwriters, whatever. And there was a very creative side to the music industry at one time, I think.
That's cool.
But I think a lot of that has now gone.
Yeah.
I think with Human League, I think their big hit album was like the third album or something. I think it was. And now, if you don't, we were talking about an artist a few weeks ago, and they were dumped because their single didn't go top 10.
Crazy.
I mean, it's madness.
Yeah, I think for young artists it is very tough, but you just have to. It's always been tough. To be honest with you, it's always been difficult. But now it's a different sort of difficult.
Different sort of tough. Yeah.
Different sort of difficult. That's all it is.
Exactly. Mick Jagger was right. There's never been a better time to make records, but there's never been a worse time to make money off them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And that's true. That's absolutely true. Yeah.
Oh, that was ace. But that was it, really. That was the gist of the chat, man. I appreciate it. That was quality.
That's right.
Pleasure. Thanks very much, Dan.
Pleasure, mate.
Yeah,